anyone listed, I would like to acknowledge Mr. Stuart Schindler, who asked to address the council. So, Stu, if you want to go ahead and come on up, give your name and address and all that good stuff. I think so. Jeremy, is the microphone on?
Stuart Schindler, live 1003 Miles Court here in Wellington. Don't think we need any introduction. Spoke to all of you. We've been speaking for a long time now. And I think we've established that we've got some stubborn people on both sides of the aisle that can't come to an agreement here. Apparently, I wasn't at the work session, but I read the minutes. And I don't think my dad was here from reading those minutes either, but he was in the news gals. But the last number I saw was an estimate of $437,000, I believe. And that's just, where's that estimate coming from is my first question. I mean, have we seen anything itemized, or is this just a number pulled from the sky? Because the $200,000 estimate wasn't high enough to scare everybody off. Because I've been, obviously, I think I must be the only one spending my time on this, because I've been on the phone for the last week. Every minute I've had a free time, I've been on the phone talking to everyone from the KDHE, the rural water districts, and no one seems to think it would cost anywhere near $250,000 to run a water line 3.5 miles. There's a lot of things that were told to us that we need a 4-inch line, and that we have to worry about stagnation in the line, and rural water districts have all told me they run 2-inch lines up to 8 miles. That leaves no stagnation problem, because you don't have that much water, then you don't have the problems that come with a bigger line. Frankly, a lot of them chuckled, and when I told them the figures, they wanted to know if we were laying gold pipe, or, said they'd be glad to do it for half of that number, and they'd make a king's ransom on it. I'm just here asking. I've spoke to some of you in the past week. I've tracked the ones I could track down, and I'm just here to ask you to direct someone to get a legitimate bid, a hard number, because apparently the water line has never been an option to some employees at the city. Back in 10 years ago when this started, and there was millions of dollars in the bank, it was not an option. Regardless, I think if you told them that the line would be free, someone else would pay to put it into us. They would have found a reason why we can't have water to our property. And we are such a close distance to the treatment plant, and I'm frustrated, and I guess from my understanding, the way that it sounded from the work session, now the city's gonna pay an outside attorney tens of thousands of dollars to cause me and my neighbors tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees to find the same solution, probably, more than likely, that we could come to an agreement. But there's been absolutely zero effort put forth on the part of the city to solve this problem. There's been an offer to drill a well, and we'll pay for that. And we drilled a well and didn't get water. And I bought a house that has water. When I bought it, it was provided by the city of Wellington, and I paid for a house that had water provided to it, and I'm not really wanting to spend tens of thousands of dollars searching for water on my property when the city's pumping 20 million gallons a year from my property. I'm sure that has a lot to do with the reason it's hard to get the water on our property. I'm already several $1,000s into this mess at at no fault of my own. And it appears to me that I'm gonna be several more $1,000s into this mess. And at the end of the day, more than likely, somebody's gonna look at it and say, you have to provide these people, you've provided them with water, you're going to have to continue to provide them water. They're going to have to pay for it, but you're gonna have to provide the water to them. We can't lose our homes. I have neighbors who've been there 30, 40, 50, 60 years, and the stance that the city's taking is that you don't owe us anything, they're gonna walk away, continue to pump the water from our property and not, and leave us with homes with no value. And people who've lived their entire lives there are gonna have to move and find somewhere else to live and lose all their blood, sweat, and tears and their life's investment because we refuse to even consider the water line. So I'm just asking for a directive for them to solicit 2 or 3 bids, whatever it takes, to get a real number, so you know before we go spending tens of thousands of dollars and buying attorneys new Mercedes. You know, I mean, that's what that's gonna do. That's all that's gonna accomplish. Go ahead.
Well, I think that the original estimates, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, the 300 and some thousand, and then the last figure was 400 and some, came from PEC.
That's my understanding, that from several months ago, that came from PEC.
Okay,
Yes.
but have we ever, like Mr. Schindler, have we ever put this out to bid?
The usual process is you have it designed, you pay for a design cost, and then you put it out for bid.
Okay, and that's what the PEC designed,
PEC has not designed the full project.
Oh, they haven't done it.
Provided the estimate of cost.
okay. So, would that cost a lot of money?
That would potentially cost a percentage of the overall project.
Right.
Okay.
I'm just,
Sure, Mr. Etter?
Does, when the rural water district runs lines to new houses or whatever, do they send it out for design to an engineering? How do they handle that? I mean, because it's, and I'm also asking this as a question. It seems to me that it would be logically speaking that there's new houses that pop up from time to time, or lines that need to be replaced from time to time with the rural water districts throughout Sumner County, or the state for that matter. They've been down this road before. Would we be in a position to not spend the money on an engineering of something like this and take their guidance on it, or,
No.
or what?
I don't wanna speak particular how rural water deals with it, but I know on this particular situation, this has to be engineered and stamped by KDHE. It has to be approved by them.
Oh, right.
On this particular instance, I don't know on other instances, but on this particular instance, it has been stated by them that it will be engineered and stamped.
Okay. Go ahead.
I have a comment. You know, we're in a situation that if you've been given raw water, which cost us nothing to push it back out there, now they're telling us that we have to treat the water that we send out there. And so it seems fair to me that you should be willing to pay, because we're gonna have expenses. We should be able, if we were to build a line, we should be able to amend those agreements, and you would pay for the water, because we have expense of, you know, making the water potable.
and at the work session back in, I believe it was August, that was discussed, and we said, you know, yeah, we'll definitely have to rework the agreements, and, you know, we'll work with you, we'll compromise, you know, that's how things get accomplished. And then there was never any offer or intent to compromise and find a solution, so.
It's because we don't know what to do yet. It's just-
Right,
we
I
don't
know, it's quite a conundrum, and it's been passed on for
Right.
10 years, and it's just time to get it solved, get it over with. I know I've lost a lot of sleep, and I'm ready to get some rest.
You know, I have another comment.
Go ahead.
You-
Is your
you-
mic on?
Yes,
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah?
it is.
Can you not hear me?
Well, you don't have to.
Yeah, she doesn't have one of those.
It's good.
You made the meant to me that you were willing to spend your last dime, apparently on legal fees, but
Well, that-
yet you're saying you're not willing to go down there and drill where you know there could be water close to our well and get it piped to your house, and so why would you spend money on legal fees and not to get water to your house? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to
I
me.
said, I did not say I would not, because, okay, I have water provided now. I have, and it's from there's a well, the size of the well that's on my property guarantees me no, I may have water, I may drill and find water and get water, and, you know, we've had plenty of rain this year, so you might find a lot of water, and then, you know, in a drought year, there we go, my well's dry, I'm not deep enough, your well has drawn the water table down, and, I mean, we're talking millions of gallons of water that's coming off of my property, so I don't feel confident in the well, you know, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, if it goes dry, then where am I? You know, and I mean, I've already spent $5,000 trying to find water out of my own pocket. I haven't received any payment from the city because I haven't asked for any, because in turn, they want to wash their hands and deal.
Right.
And, you know, it's only makes sense to me that we're 2.5 miles from the water line, you know? And like I said, there's millions of gallons of water being pumped out of there. And there's no assurance that I'll always have water. So, I don't feel comfortable with that. Now, if you guys want to, if you wanna come out and hire the drilling company and pay the bill, you know, drill away. But I'm not paying any more out of my pocket for exploration versus, you know, we can pay attorneys then if that's what you guys wanna do, you know. I don't feel comfortable with, well, my neighbor here, she has an acre and a half to try and find water on, you know. So, there's very limited area for her, and for me, I mean, it's 80 acres, yeah, there's water somewhere on there, there's water, obviously there's water there, there's probably water clear to half a mile from my house, you know, but it's half a mile from my house, what's that gonna cost? That's the situation that I'm in, is the well sounds like a great deal if you don't have a municipal source well that's pumping 20 to 40 million gallons of water annually out of the water tank.
Jason, are we limited, or are they limited out there how close they can drill wells?
It's,
Is that,
Yes.
yeah,
I
sounds like
believe
it's,
it's within 200 feet or something.
Yeah, to our irrigation space. Now, that being said, a private domestic well, that is not governed by Department of Water Resources, but there's still setbacks that the county has as far as where they can drill.
Part of the easement agreement.
Stuart, I don't know that any of us have decided one way or another on the best way to handle this. I mean, Mrs. Cordy was truly speaking the honest to God
Yeah.
truth,
I
that
don't know what.
we just don't, the right thing to do. I mean, we don't wanna leave anyone stranded, but at the same time, we have water lines here in Wellington that need our attention as well. And, I don't know, I don't know what the right answer is. I know that I think the world of you and your family, and I love Mrs. Corrigan, right, you know, she was our lunch lady.
That's right. We all know her.
And so, there's no easy solution. I want you to know, though, that we will certainly take what you said tonight into consideration, and hopefully keep the lines of communication open.
That's all I'm asking is, I just like to see a physical number that's from an outside source
Right,
that, you know, is a hard, hey, if we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it for this much money.
right,
And because, I mean, we're talking quoted by rural water districts that are talking like $40,000 to $50,000 tops. That's
Right.
a big number, to do a 2-inch line from the water, where the water is to our property. And I just don't know where the other $380,000 is coming from on the estimate, and it sounds, it's every time that we've gone down the road of talking about a water line, the estimate goes up by $100,000, and it just doesn't, it doesn't all add up.
Right.
So-
Shane, is it because the KDHE is involved in this that we have to, I mean, that it,
Well, that's part of it, but I don't think the bid has increased. I mean, the 350,000 was the original to run the line. The 400 and some thousand was to run a looped line. So that's two different bids. I don't think there's been moving numbers on
Okay.
the estimate, I mean, that I'm aware of anyway, so,
okay.
I mean, just to straighten, point that out.
And those are estimates.
Right.
Yes, this is just,
PEC estimates.
PEC, yes.
Engineering service.
Right. Okay. Well, yes, Mr. Wada.
We gotta live in this town, as you well know, and we have to justify, the money we spend. It's Wellington's money. If we were talking different options and summary judgments and things, I would like for somebody, there's opinions out there, as you well know. Your attorneys have opinions, our attorneys have opinions, everybody's got opinions. I would like to have a judgment. If we have to spend $300,000, then the KDHE has forced us and we've gone and got a judgment, and we have to do it. And I can explain that to the citizens I represent. It's nothing to do with you or making you spend money, and this is for our, I can't justify spending $350,000, whatever it is, without a very good reason. And as you and I've talked, I got a heart too. You know, I understand exactly, if I were you, I'd be doing exactly what you're doing. But put yourself in our position, we have to do what's best for the city of Wellington.
and to that, I'd say, put yourself in my position. Now I'm looking at, I live in the city limits, so I'm a taxpayer here. I am a utility, customer in town, and I own this property out there. And now, not only am I having to hire an attorney to handle all this, my taxes and utility bill is going to pay for the attorney that's fighting me. So, think about that for a minute, and how much that makes my blood boil.
I don't think, these words matter. I don't think it's a fight. I think we have to have a decision.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at this, we're gonna
Right.
have a session, and we're gonna find out a lot, the stuff's there. So let's wait until, but let's don't say words like fight, because I don't wanna fight with you in court. I want a decision.
Well, that's what-
It's not a fight.
Well, it's a disagreement until it's
I'll go along.
decided. And, you know, like I said, I'm paying for both sides of it, so the fact that I'm not yelling and screaming at everybody right now is a big,
It jumps to.
big accomplishment on my part, I'll just say that. It just, I get to hear anybody in town saying, well, the heck with you, you know, we don't wanna take care of, you know, everybody says, well, gosh, that's where our water comes from, we probably ought to take care of it, you know, so.
And I think there will be a compromise, and I think, hopefully after tonight, we will know a little bit more. And like I said, I think all of us
Yeah.
would be doing, like Ben said, doing the same thing that you're doing, so.
Yeah, and I say, you know, I've spoken with most of you, and it's not, I know it's not personal. At the same time, it's very aggravating, that I'm at my wit's end with the whole thing. I just want it to be over, you know,
We do too.
and, we just kept throwing it back in the tumbler,
Right.
you know.
It should have been resolved way
10 years.
before any of us came along,
Right.
but unfortunately, it is our duty, and, again, thank you, because I think, we certainly understand your frustration, and I appreciate your neighbors coming with you this evening.
Well, I just,
It-
you know, it shows that we
Right.
all care about this, we're not just sitting back waiting for, you know, we'd like to see it resolved.
Us too, Stu, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. All right, moving on, we have our consent agenda, which includes our approval of minutes, appropriations, and council.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Oh, yes.
But at least note, or, I mean, Mr. Troutman handed out a written.
Oh, right,
to you,
okay.
but at least maybe for the record,
Oh.
mention that, or maybe you can.
Okay.
like this because
Yeah,
it's-
sure, Mr. Troutman, go right ahead, sorry about that.
Elder Troutman, 627 West 40th Street, South Louisville.
Sure.
I put together, I know it's a little lengthy, 2 pages, but it explains our situation. You know, I read things in the paper that it's a gentleman's agreement or handshake, and it's not. We have a contract with the city, binding contract that states how arbitration will take over if there's any disagreements. So I would encourage you to read this. If you have any questions, please give me a call. I'd be happy to answer anything. And like Stuart said, keep the lines of communication open. No one from the city has ever contacted me to ask me any questions or find out anything about this. I did have a meeting with Gus Collins years ago, and recently with the last city manager, and I think Jason was in attendance. But that was short-lived. 2 weeks after that conversation, I got a letter from your lawyer that said he was gonna shut our water off. So,
Well, that's concerning,
yes, it is. Very concerning. It's in there.
right,
So it explains a timeline and where we're at.
okay,
And I would like to state, I think like Stuart said, I'm still open, but that timeline's getting shorter and shorter.
open, as far as open. to-
Agreements,
a
let's talk about
compromise.
this and resolve it.
Right, okay, so you're not opposed to paying something if it.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
You're pumping 18 million plus gallons of water per year, plus, I'm different than some of the others, there's a half-mile access along a field to get to that water well
Right,
that the city does not maintain and should, and I have to.
okay,
If they started a pasture fire, it's all in here. I
right,
mean,
well,
I've had to put up with some things from the city workers. Yes,
yeah,
I'd be happy to discuss any of that with anyone.
well, that's, again, disheartening to hear, but glad that you are bringing it to.
You
our
weren't, this was 10 years ago plus on a lot of that. I really like working with Mike Cliff.
Yeah, he's great,
He is, we get along fine, he's been out a few times when we've had bad water pressure,
yes,
found the problem. He was out there one Sunday night at 8 o'clock in the evening,
oh, wow,
just to find out what the problem was.
yeah,
So I don't wanna make any of those city workers mad, I wanna work with them.
right, okay. Well, thank you, and I appreciate you putting it in writing, it helps to kind of keep track of everything. All right, thank you, gentlemen, and Mrs. Holmberg, I appreciate it very much. All right. Good? Okay. All right, now we will move on to our consent agenda, again, which includes our approval of minutes, approval of appropriations, and council correspondence. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded that we approve our consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, moving on to reports of mayor and council. Mr. Etter.
I just would like to commend the electric department and the police department, fire department, all of them with the obvious electrical outage that took place. I just happened to be in the area when that happened, and I saw Councilman Butts down there as well. And it was a pretty big deal. And I think they did a great job of handling the police, the fire, the electrical. And I would also like to reiterate on what's been, put out there, that, if it wasn't for the, generator that we have out there, we definitely wouldn't have had power as quickly, and I don't know how long we would have been out. I'm sure Jason could probably tell you, but that would have probably been a substantial amount of time. So, I was very, very impressed and very happy to see the way that everything went together, with, how that took place. It was a big deal, and they did a good job. They're to be commended.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, Mrs. Holly? Totally agree with what Councilman Eder just said, and I have nothing else. Nothing. Mr. Butts?
Ditto what Councilman Etter's been saying. I too was close, matter of fact, I was here at this building, and it sounded like a train derailing or something going on. Immediately knew it was something down at the power plant, so I was really proud of our city guys, and I'll tell you why. Not just the fire department, they've made quick history of the fire that was involved, the safety. Of course, the police, they had all the streets blocked off in literally no time. What was impressive also was our electrical workers. I say that because all of the supervisory personnel for the entire city and the utility department were out of town.
Yes.
They were gone at meetings in various places, to people, Wichita, elsewhere. And I got to witness for a better part of an hour, maybe hour and a half, of them properly disposing of a squirrel carcass. But secondly, figuring out the problems that this squirrel had created by committee. I mean, the 8 guys that were out there working, and I mean working hard, diligently, in some really dangerous times, around some very dangerous equipment, tried, I don't know how many different things while I was there, and each time it was, well, they finally got it figured out to where it would go on without kicking the breakers. But it was, just frankly, I was amazed and pretty proud of the guys that take care of our city, both safety and to keep some lights on. Well done, guys.
Mr. Valentine?
Well, they just about covered the whole thing on the electric issue, but I'd like to say Mayor Hansel and myself were down there, and boy, that was a mess. I mean, I saw that thing explode in the shop, and I swear that fireball went 150 feet in the air. It looked like an airstrike to me. And I thought, perhaps there was a chemical car that blew up, you know. But when I got down there, I was just like her. I couldn't believe what I looked at. Are we back online now, or are we still running off the gas turbine?
Yeah, once we go through your reports, I mean, we'll give you a brief update on the whole situation, what's the intent, and we'll answer that question too. I mean, we'll give you a brief update after the mayor's report.
Okay.
But people need to realize, you know, these, and it's kind of like Bill said, these guys were all over the place down there, and they were being very careful. And you can't imagine what that looked like down there. It looked like, it's unbelievable. I never seen it like it. I didn't realize that a squirrel could do that kind of damage, but anybody wants some squirrel jerky, I imagine they can chew on it for another year.
Okay.
It's gonna take us long.
All right.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Moving on, that's all I have to say. Thanks very much.
Your roofs. All right, thank you, Mr. Valentine. Mr. Wetta?
Well, I'll chime in. I live beside, my next door neighbor who was out there, and he gave me kind of an update of that, plus this isn't easy to just take a connector and go set it in there. These guys, now, I've done that. Now I'm gonna rant a little bit. We've had an election, and the people have spoken, and I'm not gonna go through it all, but I'm gonna say that the state is $350 million in the hole right now. And we're looking at over $500 million in the hole next year. And the legislators aren't gonna show up until January. So we got at least 3 months before anything can be done to start turning things around. Because the governor won't do anything. Now, if you think this isn't gonna affect you and affect us as a city, this is gonna affect us. Because the state has no money. Now, when we start doing things, when we start voting on spending money, Shane and I had a lively conversation about this this morning. I'm gonna have a hard time spending any money with what's coming down from, the state and the federal government with what's going on. And other than that, I'll let it go with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Letta. Just a couple of things I'd like to say. Ditto to what Mr. Etter and Mr. Budd said. And Mr. Valentine, I did have the chance to go down there. Amazing, great job, crews. I was not anywhere near it. I was sitting at Brahms eating a cheeseburger, and everybody started blowing up my phone and wanting to know what was going on. And the lines of communication were just, I thought were great, considering you guys were not even around, so it worked out really well. Couple of other,
What do we need you guys for?
yeah, I'm not sure. Mr. Valentine and I had the privilege and the honor of being a part of the Veterans Day service that was held last Friday out at the high school. And I could not have been more proud to be a part of that. The high school does such a great job, and these gentlemen do a great job, so thank you.
Can I?
Sure.
Weigh in on that a little? I probably should have said that before the squirrel jerky. I have never seen such a.
It was awesome.
I think maybe I counted maybe 2 seats that were empty. I saw a lot of young people there with their children, which is something that I haven't seen. And I think by far this is probably the largest crowd that I've seen there. I mean, the crowd's always big, but this one was
It
incredible.
was huge.
And there's a couple of people I'd like to thank. Mrs. Hensley at the library for her work on getting my speech spaced right so that I didn't run over a sentence, and Libby Beemaster also. And Brad Case did a great job on that video. He just did an incredible job on that. So there's people right there behind the line that I'd like to thank. And Mayor Hansel for the way she handled this thing right down the line. And it was incredible. And if we can do this, I'd like to see an even bigger crowd next year. And if we can, I participated in this thing, I think, 10 years now, I think, you know, and, but it was very good. And it was very good to see people pull together when we're going through what we've gone through. Like Mr. Wetta said, it makes you feel good inside when you can see people bond, and they truly bonded. And I was just fascinated with it. It was just almost beyond words. And I thank everybody that was involved, Mayor Hansel, Manuel Soria. My hat goes off to that guy. He's just an incredible human being, the way he sets things in motion. And let's hope that we can all celebrate the privileges that we have, because they are privileges. They are not rights. And those guys paid for that over and over and over. That's about it. Thank you very much.
You bet, and thank you to Judge Courtney. He was also an instrumental part of that as well.
Sure was.
Also, want to say welcome, Cali College. How exciting is that? Could not be happier. Absolutely think that's going to be just a tremendous asset for us, and I look forward to wearing orange and black. And last but certainly not least, on a super sad note, Chief, there was an accident today out by Walmart that I hear was pretty severe. You want to come up to the podium for just a second?
Sure.
I had several people ask, are we gonna take a look at the signals with the growth that's gonna come with Cali and with, you know, the increased traffic that's out there on that eastern corridor? What can we do out there to prevent this?
You know, it's unfortunate that we did have that accident. However, I think both parties are okay. Both parties were transported from the scene. I don't have a current update. So with that said, keep in mind that we're talking about a US highway, US 160, so that would fall under KDOT's authority.
Okay.
Now, certainly Director Jones can chime in if he has anything to add, but I think certainly as far as any type of traffic signal being there, certainly KDOT would have an influence to that.
So can we put in a request for them to look at that, or how does that process go, Jeremy?
We would have to contact KDOT for a traffic study. I think that's been done 2 or 3 times in the past, and we're really not that close on the numbers. A lot of that traffic is split between Boundary and William, and I'm not even sure combined that we meet the requirements. Obviously, any additional businesses and traffic out there would be something that we would keep an eye on and stay in touch with KDOT.
Okay, well, I'm just thinking with, you know, it hasn't been announced, but I mean, I think they're looking at that corridor, so let's kind of keep an eye on that and just, you know, certainly be progressive or proactive rather than reactive on that.
You know, I think total accidents at a particular intersection is something that we look at also, and I don't know that that's one of the top in the town, but that would be something else we would consider.
All right, thank you, Chief.
You bet.
All right, that's all I have. Mr. Eder, you had another
Oh, I
comment?
just, Councilman Butts and Mayor Hansel kind of touched base with the staff that was out of town, but to add to the way that the electrical department in specific handled it, it also happened over lunch hour. So I saw a number of electrical personnel, because of the way that the scene was, if you will, they were literally the dead sprint back to their shed, if you will, to try and get there to start working on things. And again, it just goes back in line with, it was very, very proud and awesome to be able to see those guys take their job to that level. So I kind of left that out, but you guys had mentioned that.
You're right, it wasn't
definitely,
lunch.
it was something kind of interesting to see, if you will.
Yeah,
You wouldn't expect, but it was nice to see.
we have some great dedicated
Yes.
employees. All right, that concludes it for us. So now we've got reports of city officials. The first item, yes.
To provide that brief update, I was going to.
Oh, sure, go ahead, Shane.
I mean, certainly worth noting, as Mr. Eder opened up initially, the gas turbine generator is a positive. I mean, without that, we would have been down potentially the entire weekend. There's some other options there, so that's certainly worth noting. As you have all mentioned, the gratitude and the appreciation of our electric crew that handled the job and worked most of the entire holiday and weekend in getting us back online. Some thanks also to Electricom, that's the contractor that was present, that's doing some of our work, and they have been giving us help during this time, and Westar also. With that, I mean, Mr. Newberry can probably provide you a few more details, maybe of what occurred over the weekend, and just a brief details just for information purposes.
You guys have said the majority of it, so I'm not gonna elaborate too much more, but, as, City Manager Shields said, we ran the gas turbine for 105 hours. That's 105 hours that we had lights, that we would not have had lights without that gas turbine. That turbine sitting out east of town catches a lot of flack sometimes, but that right there shows what it's worth. Sorry, Nate. You know, the incident came in about 12:20, like Councilmember Evers said, and the guys did. They ran to the scene and they jumped right on it. Several of us were out of town at various meetings. John and I happened to be at a Westar meeting in Emporia.
That was the ironic thing.
Yeah, we were actually at a Westar meeting. The ironic part about that is I was on the phone at 9 o'clock at night talking to the same people that I was at that conference with, and that's how we got the breaker.
Oh, wow.
So, those meetings are important to get those connections started. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen without those meetings, but it definitely adds to it.
Oh, I agree.
We had a breaker on scene the next morning, which is unbelievable. And part of that was due to our contacts with Olson Associates, Westar, Electricom showed up that night. We put in over 300 man-hours over the holiday weekend and to get that thing back up and going. We made the transfer back to Westar at 9 o'clock last night. So the guys did a outstanding job. I can't say enough about them, both electric production and electric distribution, they put in the long hours. So.
And they're supposed to have Friday off.
Yeah, they're supposed to have Friday off. We had when I sent Shane the initial text, I said, hey, we're gonna pull in a skeleton crew and get started seeing what we can do. And it was more than a skeleton crew. We had 10 people down there crawling all over the place. It was neat.
That's awesome.
So, we're gonna put together a little bit more extensive report, get you guys some more details on that as time goes on, once the numbers start coming in. Insurance agents were on scene today, starting to gather data, so we'll see how that transpires.
Oh, good deal. Okay. All right.
Shelley?
Yes.
Jason, how would the current upgrades that we're going through with our grid, how would those or will those
Glad
affect
you
this
mentioned that.
situation?
Sure. Not that it would be an end-all save-all, but it would be another way for us to get electricity. It'd take a lot of work with the guys out in the field to tie circuits together. That's gonna be a secondary substation. Right now, we are relying on that one substation. So that would be another way for us to feed the town with some additional tie work on circuits. So absolutely, that just kinda reiterates the importance of getting that other substation up and going.
Good question. All right. Anything else? Okay. Now we'll go to reports of city officials. And the first item is an appeal for a cereal malt beverage license suspension with Julie's Pastime Bar.
This is an appeal, you have in your packet provided to you the appeal submitted by, signed by Julie Crow, Pastime Bar. You have the notice from the police department, sent of a 30-day suspension, which is provided for. The chief of police has the authority to issue based upon code, section 4.28 in our code. Right to appeal, I mean, she did submit a written appeal within the 7 days from issue. So that is what is coming to you, is the appeal of that notice. And how you wish to proceed is up to you.
Julie, did you want to approach the council tonight?
I
Sure.
guess. This is my husband, Tom,
Sure, go ahead and state your name.
Julie Crow.
Okay,
I live in Peck.
okay,
I'm Thomas Rowe,
right. You are the owners of the Pastime Bar,
Yes.
so tell us why you want to appeal this situation.
We were just looking to try and shorten the amount of suspension, and with the appeal came more questions about, how long the suspension would be, being that you guys control that, and then when it would be in effect.
Okay. Do we have that, Mr. Shields?
Well, the notice from the chief of police indicated a beginning date of November 14th for a 30-day suspension. I mean, that's what code provides for. Obviously, she appealed it, so the initiating date is on hold until you rule, based upon the appeal to you. So it is for a 30-day, which is what the code says, for a period of not to exceed 30 days. That's what code indicates.
Okay, so it looks like, and the license will be reinstated on the 15th of December? Okay,
Correct.
With no complications, because part of the letter stated that if I was still eligible for that licensing.
To correct your statement, the 30-day period will begin after you rule if you're upholding. So the December date is not the exact date as you mentioned.
okay.
Uh,
Yes, Mrs. Gordon.
Have you corrected the issues that were in this,
Yes, the police corrected those for me.
So you don't have any of the machines still?
No, they didn't come and give me a cease and desist order, they just came into my business and removed the machines and the money that was affiliated with those machines
Okay.
while I was on vacation.
Okay. So, as far as you're concerned, Chief, anything you wanna add to this on this issue? Can you please scooch up there?
No, I don't have anything to add other than the memo that you have in your packet. I think you'll refer to, I believe it's paragraph, the second paragraph, position. But short of that, I have nothing to add at this point.
Okay. So then the 30-day suspension of the CMB license will begin,
At the discretion
At
of
the
this
discretion
council,
of
if
the
you
council.
choose to uphold my recommendation of the 30-day suspension and make that in effect, let's say
Okay.
tomorrow, then you say 30 days from tomorrow.
all right,
And keep in mind, this is just a suspension of her CMB license. This does not preclude, and I know this may not sound, or may sound odd, but she can still open her doors. If she chooses to serve in some other beverage, or if she chooses to serve lunch, she can still do that. I'm just simply requesting that her CMB
right.
license be suspended.
And Julie, you don't have a liquor license,
No.
or you just have a CMB?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I could not afford to stay open and pay the rent that I do and the utilities that I have to pay in this town with my utility bill being over $800 a month. And so there's no way that I could, survive on lunch only, which is what I serve.
Okay.
So I was just asking for maybe a shorter time frame so that it would not mean the total closing of my business.
For a full 30 days. Anybody have anything they want to add on this, Mr. Letta?
So, we had police officers go in there 3 different times and they came out up $170. Is that what I'm reading?
Correct.
I'd say that's gambling.
Yeah.
No, he said it's gambling. I mean, I think, yeah, but that's been established, but,
Well,
Well, it hasn't really been established. I mean, they've been verbally told, and I did not mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
They've been verbally told that there's been no, to my knowledge, it has not been put in writing, that they were confirmed to be illegal machines. Because there's machines all over Kansas, Wichita, I can't speak so much for Sumner County, that now that I've learned, there are ways to get around and have the very same machines that I have, they will just spit out like a phone card ticket. And I was to the understanding that the company that I began getting them from was up to code and up to the law, paying the taxes and following the rules. So I purchased machines of my own and continue doing the same thing.
I see. So,
Did you purchase those machines from this company that you had previously?
No, I purchased them from from somebody else, from an individual.
anything else? Anyone wants to add?
Chief, have you had any difficulties in the past with this establishment?
Yes, but not with this particular owner.
Thank you.
Well, let me rephrase that. Yes, one other incident, but no action was taken.
What was the issue? I mean, do you have like fighting or
No, that's not allowed.
anything?
I used to be able to say I didn't give the police a
No,
reason.
I don't recall the last time that the Wellington police has responded to any type of physical altercation at this particular location.
So what's the incident that you're talking about, chief?
It was a tobacco violation.
Okay. And has that been resolved?
There was no action taken. That was
Okay.
in 2011.
This,
Mr. Hunter.
I don't frequent the establishment, but I've been in it, like on the parade and a couple of different times. And by saying tobacco, what I noticed on 2 occasions was violations of the Clean Air Act. That was what you're talking about.
That's one.
People smoking.
Correct, that's one.
All right, well, that's not an issue tonight. We need to decide what we're gonna do here. Mrs. Holly, did you have something you wanted to add?
I'd like to make a motion that we uphold Chief Heath's decision for 30-day suspension. I fully trust his judgment. I don't believe anything.
All right,
Can I would just ask that maybe it would not start until Monday. I have a benefit, pool tournament on Saturday to benefit a family in the community. So if you could wait till Monday,
can we work with her on that? Could we wait? I guess that's our call, so,
Certainly, I have no objection.
okay.
Those dates.
Then I will amend my motion if necessary, that we have full suspension.
Well, let me
Since
second
he
the
keeps
motion
findings.
first, then we'll discuss what.
Okay, go ahead.
You
She,
need to second?
he made the
Okay.
motion, yeah,
To
you
become
second.
effective next Monday, 21st.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that we uphold the suspension,
30-day suspension.
the 30-day suspension, but not to take effect until the 21st.
Excuse me, Mayor, is it
Yes.
necessary to say time instead of date?
No, not as far as no.
So as of the 21st, the 30 days will begin. Is
You
that?
you could start it Saturday at midnight.
Yeah, that's all right, we'll just, okay.
Run it right into her hand, make it Saturday evening. Is that-
Would that be better?
That's fine.
Because
I
that
mean, I
would be
close at midnight Saturday anyway,
Okay,
and I'm not open again until 11 o'clock Monday morning, so.
okay. Well, that'll give you an extra day then that you won't have to work. All right, so it's been moved and seconded that we uphold the suspension, the 30-day suspension, effective midnight on the 19th. Well, or midnight on the 20th, I guess that would be.
12:01.
What is it? 12:01 on the 20th. So, do we need a roll call on that? Right. Do I have any discussion? Mrs. Gordon?
I would like to know if this is going to totally put you out of business forever.
I will not be returning to this,
So,
to open my business.
you know, I hate not to uphold the chief's recommendation, but I have a hard time putting a person out of business. And it seems to me that we should be able to, put them on probation or something for a year, or, you know, figure out something else that we can do that will not totally put this lady out of business.
Right. Mr. Wetta?
Chief, when did this violation occur? The date?
The machines have been in my business for more than 5
No,
years.
when did
Sorry.
you file the,
July and August.
July and August of this year, 2016.
okay, but was it recently that we, I mean, when could we start the date, like, backdate it, like, this date on here?
Councilman, what I believe my initial memo says the 14th, so
The
it would have been
14th
yesterday
of,
of November.
okay,
Correct.
so that's yesterday.
Correct. And then Ms. Crowe chose to file the appeal. So that's why we're here this evening. We chose, myself, when I say we, myself and city manager chose to not enforce the suspension until we had this hearing.
Well, what I was getting at is, if we had a week or so, we could backdate it to then, but that wouldn't help with, if it was just yesterday.
The only thing that I would remind you of is that according to our current city code, it's a 30-day suspension.
Right.
So if you're curious as to the last time, I can provide the date that we were in the business, if that may help.
Ms. Crowe, how long have you owned the business?
8 years. Say Saturday, say next year, it'll be 9 years.
You've
And I,
had
go ahead.
two various types of violations in 8 years, is that what I'm hearing, Chief?
Correct.
And you're saying that this 30 days will put you out of business?
I will not be able to, the machines made more customers come here. That's what I got. So without the extra income from the customers that came in to play the machines, I would not be able to cover my expenses.
So without the machines, would you stay open or no?
I would not be able to.
Well,
So it's not the actions, it's the machine.
The action of the machines, the whole action is the cost.
well, I just want to say for the record that, Julie, you have been a tremendous asset to our community as far as the toy run, and so I know personally you have given a lot of time to making sure that others are taken care of, and I want to say say thank you for that. And I don't want you to think that that's being overlooked, because you're a tremendous person with a huge heart, and I'm sorry that this is kind of fallen out this way. So, Mr. Valentine?
I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here on anything. I want the chief to understand that and you to understand that. But we've got holidays coming up. Now, is there any way, and maybe I need to address Mr. Brown on this, is there any way we can bust this up to where she can have the 30-day suspension, only we break it up into like 7-day periods, and so that she can get through the holidays? I mean, you've got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas here, and you've got the New Year coming up. I mean,
Well, ordinance 428 states that the chief of police, upon 5 days written notice, shall have the authority to suspend such license for a period not to exceed 30 days. The ordinance doesn't say you can be broken up or.
I'm just asking, what I'm trying to do is try and find, we know there's been a violation, we know that, but, you know.
Well, here's where you're at. You could vote to uphold the recommendation made by the chief for the 30-day suspension. You could deny that recommendation, life goes on without the slot machines.
Well, yeah, the slot machines.
The problem has been removed, I believe.
Right.
But,
She's saying she
What
can't
I'm
make
trying,
it
what I'm
without
trying to
the
get
slot.
across here is, she's got a business here.
Yes, sir.
And I don't wanna see anybody shortchanged or short-sheeted on a business.
Nor I.
And, you know, okay, we're in violation, she knows, but isn't there any way that we could break this thing down without, I mean, I'm asking.
Is that going to help Carol, something like that? Is it just the fact that the machines is what we're keeping you in business? Excuse me, Julie.
Well, I normally stay open on Thanksgiving, Christmas, I don't close, so,
She serves meals.
yes. And I serve a free turkey dinner on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
but did I hear you say that without the machines, you can't make it?
There are machines that are legal, that can be used and can be brought in, so it would be something that I would definitely be looking into. But I would make sure I was following Chief Tracy's rules, because I do not like being in trouble.
So,
I can tell.
I guess my thought is, it's okay if you knowingly break the law, as long as you're what, a small business owner in Wellington that's struggling to stay alive. So if you take a successful business that knowingly breaks the law, then are we going to say, well, that's okay because we still want you open? I mean, either having an infraction that the chief deems worthy of a 30-day suspension, we have no reason to doubt Chief Keith's authority nor his decisions. You know, he's given us no reason to.
But she,
You know,
that she did not realize that those machines were against the law.
I believe I
So
stated that.
every
Yes.
speeding ticket and every traffic, infraction, you can say, sorry, I didn't know it went from 35 to 20. I mean, I guess it's our responsibility to know the laws of the states we drive through and the states we live in. I mean, that's.
All right, any other? Yes, Mr. Brown?
We have a saying in the practice of law, and it is that ignorance of the law is not offense.
I have one more question. Is there a potential for a legal lawsuit on this for a city prosecutor? Is there anything like that pending?
You say pending?
Well,
I hear you, I'm sorry.
legal charges to be brought. I mean, this is just, we're not here as the judge and jury, we're just here to.
Correct, and with all due respect, I don't want to share any more information than what I already have, simply
Okay.
because she has the right of due process.
Right.
And I don't want to taint any prospective case that may occur later down the road.
Understood.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All right. Madam Clerk,
Repeat the motion.
Roll call.
I think we better have, the motion is Mrs. Hawley, if I understand, to uphold the suspension for 30 days, effective 12/01 on the 20th. Yes, okay.
Roll call.
Yes, ma'am, please. Mrs. Cordy?
No.
Mr. Betts?
No.
Mr. Valentine?
No, and the reason I'm saying this is, if you could just, oh, and I know you've already got a motion on the floor, and incident, whatever. Give her the holidays at least to make a living, you know. The day before Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving, and the day before Christmas and Christmas, come on. I mean,
All right, so your vote is no, Mr. Valentine?
yes, my vote is no.
All right. Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hawley?
Yes.
It is a tie, 3-3. I suppose the mayor could vote. Since this is not an ordinance or a resolution, it kind of is blind territory to me.
The mayor votes to vote.
Either way. It's not an ordinance or resolution.
If she doesn't vote,
The mayor may vote to break a tie.
but if she doesn't, then it's fails, or,
The mayor can vote in favor of the resolution, only if there's a tie vote.
Madam Clerk, I'm gonna change my vote. I don't know what the precedent is on this, but, you know, I have absolutely nothing at all against Julie and her husband in business, but I have nothing but highest regard for our chief of police and police department. I want to change it to yes.
That is four for it and 2 against, so that doesn't pass.
That's coming up.
Well, Julie, it looks like you're gonna be suspended for 30 days. Okay. All right. Okay.
That sucks.
That does suck. There's no other way around that one. All right, B, Settlers Creek loan purchase proposal, Andrew Yavara.
And what you have is a letter there from Andrew Ybarra offering to buy 3 lots in Settlers Creek. You have the details there as what they're offering. Wanting to purchase 3 lots for the price of $1,500. They intend to build a permanent home and eventually an unattached workshop on those 3 lots. They are proposing that they would assume specials for 1 lot, for the remaining specials, which extend until the year 2022, but only on 1 lot. And they would be asking you to abate the other 2 lots. So you have that proposal. The other thing to make you aware of, which I handed out to you, I made a proposal this afternoon that was submitted to our office. Just to make you aware of, I think it's certainly you need to be aware of it. In this case, it was from Miller Management. An offer to purchase all 15 lots in Settlers Creek Addition, in the amount of $1,000 each, totaling $15,000. You have the details there of what they're proposing regarding the specials. And that was just submitted this afternoon, so, and they also say that the offer is good for 60 days, so certainly that, I think, warrants some more, maybe research and thought. But I think you ought to be aware of that based upon having the other proposals to do, so. Any questions I can try to answer, or?
Mr. Etter?
With regards to the offer from Miller Management, 15 lots, is that all of them, is there some?
That's the 15 remaining lots, yes, that the city owns in Settlers Creek. Yes, there's
So that would encompass the same
The
lots?
same
that-
3 that you've
Correct.
already
Correct.
requested.
Correct.
But it gets us out of the real estate business.
Correct. Obviously, though, if you approve the 3 lot proposal, then 12 would be remaining that Miller Management could potentially purchase.
Is Miller Management contingent on getting all 15 or just
No.
12?
No, that was a question asked this afternoon, and we covered that question, and the answer was, it is not contingent. I mean, if they want whatever is available.
So if there was only 12, they would be willing to take the 12?
Oh, okay.
That was the answer given to me by Mr. Miller.
Did, either of these parties state any type of time frame?
No, Mrs. Yavara is who I talked to, and, you know, it is pending the results of the compaction test, I mean, that's in the letter, although there's been other houses built in that same area, so we don't expect that to be a problem. If I correctly understood, the house, obviously, they wish to begin within the next few months. The unattached workshop might be a longer timeline.
Is this something we need to make a decision on tonight? Or is this something
Nothing
that you
indicates you,
approve?
there's no reason you have to make a decision tonight, obviously, you know, the Ibarra family has been in contact with us a couple of months, I mean, made the first inquiry probably a couple of months ago, and did some of their research to know, and finally some of this written off.
Well, and, go ahead, Pam.
How does the price offered compare to what we've done in the past, the history of the rest of the lots, I guess is what I'm asking?
If you look at the last, I mean, of course, the 9 lots were sold to the West Wedgewood Apartments for $20,000 per lot, that covered all the remaining specials, that's the $20,000 per lot. Since that time, you have sold 6 other lots, I mean, 1 lot in 2014 for a price of $2,500, a lot in December of 2014 for the price of $1,000, a lot in June of 2015 for the price of $1,000, and then 3 lots in May of 2016. 2 of those lots were for a total of $700, and then the remaining, the 3rd lot there was for $1,000.
Our whole, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Our whole point of purchasing these was to recoup what we had outright or some cost into the property. Where are we at on, I mean, to me, it's like we spent this much to buy them and we only, you know, like I said, we need to get out of the real estate business. How close are we? I'd like to be done with them.
Not very close, and
We're
regarding
not.
what you know, I mean, if
Well,
the initial direction of the council was to attempt to sell the lots and try to regain, you know, the specials that we
for
had
what we paid to purchase
paid to
them.
purchase.
Are we
them,
gonna
and
do
then
that?
remaining specials. No, I mean, you haven't done it with the last 6 lots. You
What we
did it
paid for them.
But are the people paying the specials on all of those lots that we sold? No.
Other than the last 3, I mean, if you recall, that question came to you.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think they're delinquent yet because of the timeline, but
So the one that wanted to give us the 2 lots back are not paying the specials?
as I said, I don't know if they're delinquent yet, but it appears that they won't be paid. Did that answer your question, Ms. Allen? I mean,
Was it a good investment to purchase that street?
No.
I mean, did we actually just spend more money trying to get back the money we'd already spent? I mean, I'm just asking, I made the decision, I sat up here and voted for it, so, I mean,
well, I don't know that it was, I mean, you certainly not selling the lots, I mean, certainly the 9 lots, I mean, the 20,000 apiece for Wedgewood, I mean, that recouped the specials, I mean, that amount covered the specials to 2022.
okay.
The other lots, you know, have not, I mean, we have abated the specials from the date of our purchase up until the date of sale. Now, those 3
Right.
other lots, I mean, you know, purchased by private owners, obviously, taxes are being paid as far as they have, so. But have we
And we only
recovered?
have 6 more years to,
Correct.
5 technically, but.
Well, and there's a,
Over.
there's a discrepancy too, like, so the Miller Management is willing to pay $1,000 for each of the lots, and it looks like the other one is looking at about $500 a lot. Is there a, yes, is there a difference in all those, or are they all pretty much the same?
Well, there's no standard pricing to sell the lots, I mean, obviously, you sold 2 for lots for $700.
Right.
In May of 2016, so that's been your choice, your direction.
Mr. Eder?
I want to touch base on one thing. One of the things that the council, I think a direction that we kind of had agreed on under the previous management was that we were going to look into a land bank and the potential of giving lots away. I mean, I know, I don't don't wanna walk over money, we've got people that are offering us cash here. But I think, my question is that, where are we gonna work out with regards to, I mean, this offer here from the Ybarras, Mr. Ybarra is $1,500, per year per lot in specials, as opposed to them paying us an upfront fee. Would we be in a better position to say, hey, look, we'll give you the lot, you pay the fee, the specials in them? It looks to me like, you know, with regards to Miller Management's offer, theirs is, you know, offering us, you know, what kind of seems to be kind of that standard area of $1,000 per lot. Their request is that special taxes will start as the builder finishes and completes each new building, and the occupancy letter has been issued by the city of Wellington. Well, that obviously, you know, is going to take some time to build 15 different homes, but the rest of the story is
We have 6 years of
that,
specials left.
yeah, we have 6 years of specials left, so, I would say that this is the fact that we're getting out from underneath 15 lots is great, but, from a comfort level, I would need some kind of a timeline with regards to when the building is gonna look at, or start. I mean, what kind of, does it look like? Are you gonna build one home a year or two? I mean, I know that market drives that.
I may be able to offer a little bit of insight to that. Mr. Miller called me this afternoon, and I think it was after your conversation, Jane, that it's, their intention is not to build. They have offered extended the invitation, and it's been accepted by one and possibly two Wichita developer / builders who want to come to Wellington, in as much as the Cali road passed. That, from my experience and my background, that's where I worked, was in Wichita with these builders and developers. That is indeed a very good sign that someone out of town has an interest, again, in Wellington. Miller essentially will be operating as a broker, but I also noted that in this agreement that or this offer that he's made, Brian and his son Miles also are prolific when it comes to building duplexes for rental income, which also is a very attractive investment in this town as of last Tuesday.
Right.
So consequently, I'm not about to say talk for the Miller by saying that this is going to happen quick. That it's my guesstimate that within a year or 2 years, these lots will have wood on them.
Right.
So, with that said,
All
I
right.
think the Miller Management offers a very attractive offer, in the fact that we get out of the real estate business in its entirety.
right,
And that, you know, there's a potential, there's not, I mean, it clearly states in here that the specials will start whenever the completions, you know, ends. Compare that to the, you know, Mr. Ybarra's, he's wanting 3 lots, and he's only willing to, or he's offering to pay, you know, specials on 1. Well, that's,
keep in mind that the developer builder / is not really that concerned about $1,600 worth of specials. He's gonna put $160,000 worth of concrete and lumber on those lots. So he has an investment as well.
Both of these are just their offers. City has, council has the right to counter offer, adjust. Do we have any staff recommendations?
Well, the Miller Management, as I said, came in this afternoon, and some of the details you already voiced here, I think, are ones that we need to confirm, I mean, and consider. Is there a timeline that we want to put on it, the building has to occur? I mean, there's some other thoughts, I think, that ought to go into this proposal
Okay.
and be thought out a little bit better.
All right.
Well, the offer's good for 60 days,
Right.
so we can ask some questions and get some more information and handle this next month, right?
Yes.
sure.
I mean, for that one, certainly not. The bars, I don't know, I don't know if they have a timeline on theirs or not.
So we want to table this, or we just want to say, let's handle it next month? or-
I don't think you need to table it, I mean, I think you simply just delay.
Take no action.
Take no action on it.
Bring us information next month.
Right.
Thank you.
All right.
It's something that we need to have a conversation about with regards to possibly a counter offer or a more clarified offer. It's not necessarily a counter offer, I mean, just something a little bit more clarification
Right.
on, and I think it's something we can easily put on the next agenda
Very
for
good.
both of them, Mr. Andrew, Yubara and the Miller Management.
And the middle management. All right. Yeah, I'm excited that we've got people interested and that we're gonna get out of the real estate business, and hopefully we'll see more development like this, come along, so. All right, next item is the City of Wellington Fire EMS Department Chief Pay Strategic Plan 2017-2021. Oh, and he has
Right,
pictures.
point. Just click, hold on.
He has visual aids.
Mayor, Council, I'm gonna move through this rather quickly, so if you have a question, please stop me.
Okay.
Hey, quit moving that thing. Okay. Put it down. Hold on.
Messing with the mouse there.
Strategic goal 3.
Okay. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Same button. Same button. Okay. We started this process back in April this year. I have never done a strategic plan myself. We did have a we do have an existing document we call our long-range plan, slash our accomplishments for the past year. What we had in our long-range plan was very narrow, a couple sentences here and there, basically telling us what we were gonna purchase in the future years. So we wanted something more broad that encompassed everything we do at the fire department, so that's why we started this plan. Okay. This may be a little off here. The process we went through, it's not gonna jive exactly page by page here, but started out giving discussion topics to our staff. They took a look at that, see if they needed to add or change it in their own map. We then sent out a questionnaire to the public. I think we got 60 responses. We're hoping for more, but had some good responses on that. Then the next thing after that was to recruit at least 8 members of the community to serve on the committee or the citizens part of it. And I'll mention those once we get to those. After that, we had a meeting with city staff, department heads, formed an informational meeting, went through what we've done in the past, we're looking at the future, and giving them, some things that they may not know about the fire department and what we do. Did the same thing with the citizens committee. And then after that, we had a joint meeting with both of them. We went through our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and then we decided on our goals and objectives. So moving on, just some of the things in the document. Provided a message from the guy who calls himself the chief. Statistics.
Nice picture.
Little history, questionnaire results, which you'll read and see where we stand with some of the citizens community. And then the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I hope you'll read through that, but that's what the committee decided on, what we needed to take a look at so we could move on to our goals and objectives. So we'll get to the goals and objectives here. I think I bypassed who was on the committee, didn't I? But Anna Rose White was on there, Stacy Davis, Dan Anderson, Steve Shelley, Kirk Gwynn. I'm gonna miss somebody here, I don't have them on there, but
Jeremy Goodrum.
Darlene Ferguson. I think you hit all 8 there. I really appreciate their help, department heads, in putting this together. But going to the goals and objectives real quick. I'm gonna have to get my paper because I cannot see that far. All right, goal 1 was something you just voted on here a couple weeks ago, and that's in the process right now. So we'll move on to our goal 2. Improve recruitment and retention of personnel. We've always had a problem with that. Getting paramedics in here, getting people, period, to come in Wellington and live. So, police chief, which he's not here, I'll give him the kudos for
talking about a scholarship. Maybe we get people local, offer a scholarship to go, it'll be an EMT level, and give them a scholarship to attend paramedic class. So that was one of the things that came out of that. The other things we're gonna look at is trying to sell ourselves to the paramedic classes, go and visit them, tell them what we have to offer, et cetera, and working with Cali County Community College on various things.
Chief, that's gonna be a big win for you guys, I mean,
I hope that we get more people in the community involved in the fire science part of it and in EMT. What'll happen to the paramedic program, I don't know if it'll stay in our city or if it'll move around. But right now, well, Winfield's actually where they have the classes for the paramedic program, but hopefully that will pique some interest and we'll have more applicants that way.
good deal, okay.
Maybe you can get them trained while they're in high school, to take some of these classes.
Right, yeah, that'd be great.
All right, moving on to goal 3, consolidation. Councilman Wood mentioned that. I have put a call into the Kansas Department of Forestry to do the fire portion of it, and they agree, but that probably won't take place till after the first of the year. We really need to have a conversation on the EMS delivery in Sumner County sooner than later. But that's been put in there as one of the goals that we want to meet with county commissioners and take a look at what's happening in the county. And hopefully they get on board maybe with a study and see what we can do. Especially in the rural areas, there's a lot of uncertainty out there on what's going to happen to their services and response times, et cetera. So that needs to happen. Utilizing city workers as supplement for our larger incidents. I know a couple of department heads, I think Jason and Jeremy mentioned they might have some employees that would be interested in getting the training. We would train them, send them to Firefighter 1 certification, and of course equip them, and they can help us when we have staff shortages, et cetera, and supplementing our staff at some of the larger incidents. Goal 5, expand use of social media. If you read the questionnaire, there's a heavy emphasis that everybody wants to be notified 24/7 on what's going on, whether it's an incident or a prevention or whatever it may be. They want to be told on Facebook. So we want to expand to where maybe that I could get on Facebook and send those messages out, whether it's 3 in the morning or a holiday, et cetera, that we could get something out to the community. Moving on to goal 6, that's basically what technology we're going to need in the future. That's always increasing. That's going to be that we're going to have to use that more and more often in our jobs, especially in the EMS field. So that's just kind of giving me an outline what we're going to need in the future to communicate with hospitals, et cetera. Going down to goal 7 is technical response, competence, and funding. Back in the early 2000s, there was a lot of grant money that the city of Wellington received. That's no longer out there. We received trailers, equipment, and training. That's all dried up. Now we need to look at funding for those, if we want to fund all those. Trying to keep our staff technically competent in all these fields for everything that may not happen 10 or 15 years is tough. Especially you have new personal cycling in and getting them certified in different areas. And just replacing obsolete equipment or getting new equipment, et cetera, it's expensive. So we're trying to focus more in the water rescue and the hazard materials area in the future. Goal 8 is to enhance and expand public education in some of the ways that it was suggested that we get out more in the community and do things. And then this goal 9 is just some of our bigger purchases that we need to do in the future. And the last page is just basically our apparatus schedule, our point system that we use for our apparatus. Any questions? That was really quick, but I hope you take time to read it. And if you have questions, please call me. But I want you to, be abreast what we're going to do in the next 5 years, so anybody can pick up this document and say, this is where the fire and EMS department's going to go. We know what's going on. We'll put it on the website, et cetera.
Who conducted this for you?
who conducted this?
Really, who facilitated your
I was
meeting?
the facilitator, so it was all new to me, so now I have ideas on when we go to update this document, that I can do differently. But I got online and looked at different strategic plans and took bits and portions of
Okay.
different people in the United States.
Well, good job, Chief. Okay, Mr. Wetta?
Have you put any feelers out at the county? Do they know what you're talking about, or have you visited with anyone? Because this needs to happen. And as you said in one of your reports earlier, this isn't gonna be easy.
Well, I don't think it's any secret to them. I know myself and City Manager Collins went there a few years ago and somewhat of a proposal on doing countywide EMS. That's about as far as it went, was that meeting. So they know what's going on out there, but there just hasn't been any action taken.
All right.
Joe?
Yes, Mr. Evans?
I would just like to thank you and commend you for taking the initiative and having your department put together something like this. I think it's great, and I think it's an example that we can use in other departments and throughout the entire city to look at it. I think it's a great initiative that you took. I appreciate it, and I thank you.
Thank you. It's a way to think outside the box and get others' input.
Yeah, get
That was
outside
serious.
input, think of something different.
Well, I agree. Strategic planning, I think, is key to success in any business and or organization, and certainly for a city, I think it's critical, so thank you. Anybody else?
Brings up the fact that we need to do it ourselves.
We do, and as a matter of fact, City Manager Shields and I were just talking about that today, that we really believe that this council needs a day to do some strategic planning. So,
We discussed probably after the first year would be the best timeline with other issues currently going on, so.
right. So, we'll need to think about January, maybe doing a day-long strategic planning of some sort. Chief, nothing against you, but I think we're probably not gonna use you.
Okay. All right.
We're probably gonna figure out another route. But I'm very impressed with what you've done, so. All right, so if anybody has a better day or whatever, or some times that won't work or whatever, please let Shane know so we can get something scheduled. All right, moving on, resolutions. Our first resolution tonight was a resolution accepting and approving bids and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Modular Connection of Bessemer, Alabama, for the purchase, delivery, and construction of a control building in the total amount of $56,644 for the Duke substation. Mr. Shields.
This is part of the electric project bond funding, and Mr. Newberry can provide some additional details.
Yeah, I apologize for the coughing, I'm 3 cough drops in, and I'm still coughing for some reason, but, so basically, this is part of the bond project for the Newark substation, which is what Mr. Etter alluded to earlier as far as an alternative way of getting electricity to the town. This is actually for the control building that will go at the Seneca substation, what we're referring to as the Duke substation.
Okay.
I asked Olson Associates why they did this separately than the next resolution, and basically it's just to get better pricing. So,
Okay. Any questions? Comments? All right, do I have a motion?
I move we approve this, resolution.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution accepting and approving the bid from Modular Connection of Bessemer, Alabama.
And this is a budgeted item, correct?
this is part of the bond issue.
Part of the bond issue, okay. Madam Clerk, can you please do a roll call?
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine? Yes. Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mrs. Holly?
Yes.
Mrs. Corbett?
Yes.
6 affirmative votes for resolution 5780.
All right. The second resolution tonight is a resolution accepting and approving bids and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Electricom of Topeka, Kansas for the 69 kV switching station construction in the total amount of $290,823.29.
Again, part of the electric project bond funding, and Mr. Newberry has the details.
Can't say enough about Electricom. They bailed us out this weekend. The guys are amazed with their knowledge and expertise and professionalism. They were great on scene, and we look forward to moving forward with this project. Olson Associates took care of the bids. This is who they were recommending far before we had our issue with the substation. That just is a little bit of icing on the cake.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Again, part of the
Yes, sir.
budgeted bond.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion, we go forward with the resolution.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
All right, lots of support. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution accepting the bids, authorizing the city manager to work on this agreement with Electricom of Topeka. Madam Clerk, could you please?
Mrs. Hawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Again, 6 affirmative votes for resolution 5781.
All right, our next resolution is a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the Kansas Department of Health and Environment consent order, case number 16-E-11, EOW, I don't know what that means, approving the terms, conditions, and requirements of the final KDHE order attached.
This is the final consent order as discussed at the last work session, provided you the details of that. Just very briefly, the details are, we have to submit a final plan of action to KDHE by December 1st of 2016. We have until July 1st of 2017 for the removal of the direct cost connection and for disconnection of all customers being served by the raw untreated water line. That's the two main points. Everything else was in agreeable form for the most part from the original proposal we sent back to them. So we simply need approval of this as part of the final plan of action. That will be further discussion, I believe, later in the meeting.
All right, any questions?
Well, yes, I believe that there's an error in this on page 83, item 13 in the second line refers to 23 people affected, and I think that should be 13.
If you're, tell me what number
Page
again
two.
you're.
Page two.
Page 2. I think that's a statement of fact, I'm guessing, once I get to it here.
Number 13?
Yeah, number 13.
The response letter to KDHE, I mean, that is what the response, that's a statement of fact. I mean, that is
Okay,
what.
so it is 23 people, for 23.
At that point in time, with that
It was.
letter, it was 23 people.
Okay, so we're down to 13 now. All right.
Yeah, down to 13, actually down to 6.
6.
All right. Any other questions?
I move with.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the KDHE consent order. And this is the final order that will be,
Correct.
yes, this is the final. All right. Madam Clerk, could you please do a roll call?
Mr. Etter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hawley?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
6 affirmative votes for resolution 5782.
Okay. And our final resolution tonight is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with APAC Kansas Incorporated Shears Division of Wichita, Kansas for fiscal year 2017 KDOT Clink 1R resurfacing project, US 81 from 17th Street to Hillside Road in the amount of $298,921.95.
This is the Clink project that's been delayed several years, based upon the original estimate. First time bid, the estimates came in so certainly higher than estimated or expected. Mr. provides some further history and details of the Clink project.
originally a fiscal year 2014 award from the state of Kansas, 2-inch mill and overlay on North A Street from 17th Street to Hillside. State participation of 75% up to $200,000. That puts us into about 64,000 for our 25%, full 200,000. The first two times it was bid, August 2014 and March 2015, APAC was low bid at $391,590. We chose to not do that. June of 2016, we requested an extension to try to get a second clink award. That was ultimately denied for a number of reasons. A lot of changes going on with DOT funding right now. We were essentially told to use it or lose it. Talked to Trans Systems about bidding a third time. Felt the environment was a little better for that. The price of liquid asphalt's much better now. We also, the city is taking over the responsibility for the full depth patching. Felt like that was gonna take out some traffic control and mobilization costs. It appears that all of those things were actually true. We came in, only received one bid, but it was from APAC, and they were low bid previously, so they come in at just under $300,000. Felt that if we could get to 300, that would be a good deal. So, even though we have one bid, I think it's a very good bid. I don't believe it's gonna get any cheaper for us.
And is that our local, I mean, even though it says Wichita, I mean, that's our local APAC?
Same overall company, but the local is just a concrete plant.
Okay. But
APAC
still-
Shears division out of Wichita is gonna bring down the machines and do it.
Okay,
Asphalt,
so,
they make their own asphalt in Wichita.
so definitely the same umbrella company.
Yes.
Good deal.
Funding available, we had $64,000 budgeted, still in the 325 originally from this. We had 35,000 transferred to 325 from remaining operating funds from 2015 in the street department. Gives us just the right amount of money. The only other expense that we would be foreseeing on this would be a little bit of inspection. We'll do in-house inspection for the general portion of it. Jamie Cornejo is a certified DOT KDOT inspector. However, he's not certified, nor do we have the equipment for running gradations or nuclear density testing. So we're working on a proposal from Trans Systems to do that part of the inspection, hoping that that will not be too much. Timeline for this would be, right now they're looking at April or May of next year.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Sounds like based upon what Vincent said earlier in the meeting, that these funds are out there right now, we better use them or lose them.
There's an article in the Wichita paper this morning, they just cut about 60 or 70% of the bids that they opened in October. They're only gonna do about a third of those projects, and they're going month to month right now.
Now let's get her done. Okay.
So anytime you can get that kind of cost share, especially on roads and the conditions that our roads are, I think it's a no-brainer.
And that was last done about 10 years ago. The last couple of years, it's definitely it's going downhill quicker. If we don't do it this time, essentially, we're gonna be on our own because there's no guarantee when the next round of funding is gonna be available.
Right. You're not kidding. All right.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with this and accept it.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
All right, there's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution authorizing our city manager to execute this agreement with APAC Shears Division. Madam Clerk, can you please do a roll call vote?
Mrs. Holly? Yes. Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Wetta?
Yes.
Mr. Ever?
Yes.
Again, 6 affirmative votes for resolution 5783.
All right, we have no study items. Mr. Shields, do we need to do an executive session?
Yes, we would need an executive session for attorney-client privilege matters. That would be so moved if someone would so choose to include myself, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Newberry.
You have an estimate as to time?
That's 30 minutes, certainly.
30 minutes is gonna be
30 minutes probably at least.
Make a motion that we go into executive session for consultation with attorney on matters that would be deemed privileged in an attorney-client relationship to include Mr. Shields, Mr. Brown, anyone else?
Mr. Newberry?
Mr. Newberry. To, and council and mayor, to be resume at 8:45.
All right. All right. All those in favor of adjourning into an executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Oh, is there a second? Yeah, Jan seconded, yeah. All right, now, we're good. So we're gonna adjourn. Okay, well, Jan had done it. Jan had already seconded, but we'll just do it again.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Did you get that, Carol?